Good day, my Algebra 2 little people. We're going to do a few from lesson 25B, and I think numbers 1 and 2 in class, but I have chosen number 4 and 5, okay, because it has this little fraction out front. And then I'm going to do number 6 because instead of y being by itself and the x value squared, notice the y value is squared here. So this one is going to be just a little bit different. So you may just want to, go to the very end of the video and watch just this one if you're doing okay on everything else. So that's kind of what's coming up ahead. Okay, here's the deal. Because these are not in standard form, there's a little trick of how you can find the vertex. What you can do to find your vertex, first of all, you want to get the y value, whatever's to the first power by itself. So this is great. But the way you can find the x value of the vertex is use your little equation, negative b over 2a. This is your a, your b, your c. So the opposite of b, here my b is a negative 12, so the opposite of that would be a positive 12, all over 2 times negative 2. Here my a value is a negative 2. So I have a positive divided by a negative, which is negative, and 12 over 4 is going to give me 3. Okay, so on my vertex over here, I know that it's going to be negative 3 something. And just a second. Nothing like not bringing my calculator over here. So what you're going to do is take your negative 3 and you're going to plug it in everywhere you see an x to find your y value. So your y is going to be negative 2, and then we're going to plug that negative 3 in. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to plug in a negative 3. So don't forget you're going to do exponents first. So that gives me 9 times negative 2, which is negative 18, plus 36 minus 20. 18 minus 20, what is that? Negative 2. So that should be my vertex. Okay, so that's great. I also tell you have to tell me how it opens. Okay, notice this. Since the x value is squared, I know it's going to open up or down. Because it has a negative coefficient, a negative number, I know it will open down. So it's going to opens down here. So here, in a little graph paper, this is what I already know without graphing any other points. I have got the vertex negative 3, negative 2, okay, and I know it's going to open down. And this right here would be my axis of symmetry, which is the line x equals negative 3. So x equals negative 3 is my axis of symmetry. So technically, according to the book, this is all you have to do. That would be your answer. So if you guys could kind of box in your answer for me so it makes it a little easier to grade, have some work here, that would be great. All right, so here's my, I know this is going to open down. Now you have to have at least 3 points to graph this, so you can plug in anything you want to this equation. The easiest thing to probably plug in is 0, so everywhere you see an x, you could plug in 0. So if that's the case, notice if I plug in 0 here, it's going to give me 0 minus 20, which is negative 20. That's a little big for me to graph, so how about if we plug in something else? How about if we plug in something close to negative 3? How about negative 2? Okay, that should give me a value that's kind of nice to work with. So just be careful when you plug this in. Now, if you plug in a negative 2, that's going to give me what, 4? And 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So I'm just going to show my work right here. If I plug in a negative 2, that's going to give me a positive 24 minus 20. So that gives me 4, what, negative 4? So there's a good point right there. So negative 2, negative 4, which is right here. So notice it went over 1 from the axis of symmetry. So there's that one. And then we all know that negative 20 is way down there, but that's good enough right there. Whoops, I'm trying to look through my phone and graph this parabola. Make sure you extend it. And I am having problems here through my phone, but you should be putting arrows on it, something like that. Okay, and it should be a lot skinnier. Okay, the other thing I asked you to do was you had to practice to put this in standard form. So let's do that because some colleges require you to put this in standard form and some colleges let you do it this way. So it just depends. So we're going to practice doing both. Remember, when you complete the square, you have to have this to be a 1. So I'm only going to look at these 2 first values that have an x in it, and I'm going to pull out the negative 2. So I'm going to come down here. First of all, I'm going to rewrite it so I can not have to keep going up there. Let me leave a little space here. Okay, so you want this term by itself, like always. I'm going to pull out a negative 2. be careful when you pull out your negative, remember that it's going to change the sign. If I multiplied this in there, do you see how that gives me negative 12? Okay, just like we always did, you're going to half it and square it. So if you half this, you get 3. If you square it, you get 9. So I'm going to add 9. This one's tricky because you would think you just added 9, but if you would multiply this in, you can see really that's a negative 18. Now on anything else, we always do the same thing to the other side, but we want this guy to always be by himself. He's a loner. So what I have to do is undo what I just did. This is a negative 18, so I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to add 18. So that's the tricky part. This way I can write this as something squared. And remember, what's the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 9 is 3. Okay, or you could think what's half of positive 6 is a positive 3. And negative 20 plus 18 is a negative 2. That is in standard form. I like standard form because I can see the vertex really quick. I mean, if it's already in it. Notice my vertex is what makes the x value 0 and what's tagged on the end. So you should still have the exact same vertex. All right, I am going to go ahead and do the other two on another video.